I'd like to call to order the meeting of the King George County School Board. We're going to have an invocational prayer by Pastor John Henson from Thrive Christian Fellowship.
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you tonight for this opportunity to pray to you, or to ask for your wisdom and your guidance and your empowering, your will to be done, Lord, through this board. God, we pray for your covering, your protection for our kids in King George County. We thank you for them. We thank you for the parents, for the families. Lord, we thank you for this board. God, the wisdom that you give them to make decisions, Father, as they commit that to you. We thank you for the staff, the teachers, all the faculty in this county, Lord. And tonight we just pray that, Lord, you would lead these men and women as they exercise the calling that you have put upon their lives. Lord, may we support them and one another, and may we seek your will. God, we thank you for your word, and we thank you for your son, Jesus, Lord, who died for us. Lord, we commit this prayer to you in this time tonight, to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Would you please stand for the pledge? It was going to be led by the King George Middle School volleyball and football teams.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, I hear congratulations are in order. So for the King George Middle School volleyball and football teams. And so, are there any words from any of the coaches or anything that, or any of the players, or is it just me? All right. Well, all right. I like that. Thank you. You're much better than I am.
Good evening. Thank you guys so much for inviting us. This is a back-to-back championship team for the volleyball team. I'm not going to speak for the football. I'll let you guys do that. We were, I did write some stuff down so I don't forget. We were an 8-2 season this year with a point differential of 427 to 312. A clean sweep in the playoffs. That was 3-0 in the first round, 3-0 in the second round, with 177 aces by all of our players, 52 kills and 21 assists. So a very impressive team, and we only had 4 returning players this year. So these girls did a lot of hard work, and we want to thank you guys as coaches also for the increased stipend. Appreciate that. I really do. Little plug there. But also for giving us another opportunity and signing us permission to do this, and to the parents. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much for entrusting in us for another championship season. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Volleyball team, would you stand? Young ladies, would you go ahead and stand? We want to recognize. Go ahead and stand. Young ladies, stand. All right, let's give them a hand. Yeah. Well done, well done. Well, we'll hear from the football championship in just a second also, and afterwards there may be questions from the board. Football.
Yeah, so I'll follow it up. I'm Coach Brandon Haga, the head coach of the middle school football team. Thank you for having us tonight, showing these support for the kids, especially in front of the community. Well deserved by all of them. Just some stats for us. We went undefeated. We went 9-0. Outscored our opponents 262 to 96. So yeah, it was a pretty dominant season. 54-0 in the playoffs. So great achievement on this team. We started in May. Big support by all the family, the fans. The last 2 home games, I mean, it looked like a varsity home football game. So I just thank the community for coming out and supporting us. Thank you for these kids. Looking forward to their future. So thank you.
Football team, stand. Go ahead. Stand. Okay, we're gonna have questions and then we're gonna have pictures. So questions first, or any comments from board?
Have comments.
Go ahead.
Just want to say thank you to all the coaches. My spouse used to coach the middle school football team, so I know how much time and effort and energy and that goes into it. And so we appreciate that. Appreciate the volleyball team. It's really super cool that only 4 of you guys were returning and you still took the trophy home. So that's amazing. Thank you for representing King George so well.
Very good. Anybody else on the board?
I just want to say congratulations. Great job, guys, to the parents for the commitment of bringing them to practices and games. I'm a parent of a football player, players myself, so I know it takes a lot. To the coaches, all the commitment that you give, thank you, and great job.
Anybody else? I also want to, as a past volleyball coach and football coach, many, many years ago, I agree. It takes a lot of effort and time. I coach middle school and high school, but job well done, extremely well done. Coaches, either one of the two coaches can use something unique that happened during the year that you wanted to share. There's always something, I know.
So the 4 returning players that we had, which was really impressive, 2 one was an alternate, one was a manager last year, and one of them had an incredible block right in the face of another player. And if you know anything about volleyball, a block is an energizing moment for your team.
Yeah.
And when they did that, they had to calm me down on the bench. I was a little excited. And then our hitting stats are only because of the hard work that these girls put in during practice, and then the hard work that they tell me that I have to now do the same thing I tell them they have to do. And one of the things we require is a lot of squats. I think we did about 120 squats in a practice one time, and if not more. And these girls have done all the things that are correct in becoming awesome women of the future for this county. But volleyball is in good hands with this group of young ladies that are moving up to the next level. So we do, again, thank you for having an opportunity to come out here and show them off, if you will, to the community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Anything unique, Coach?
Well, I will say football is a pretty intense sport, so we'll keep some of that stuff on the field. But one of the things that I will say for all of us coaches, our expanded vocabulary. We have taken on the title of UNC. I guess that's the new name for us. Yeah. So we had to learn a whole new language. But yeah, again, just like Coach Limbrick said, just the involvement of this team and the way they were able to adjust mid-game just made it so easy for us, right? And it's just their commitment and dedication and just the type of kids, especially we struggled throughout the year, trying to breed some, intensity in our kids because we always joke that the King George kids, they raise them well, right? So to try to turn on that switch was pretty hard for us to do just the way they're raised, but they came through in the end and provided a dominant performance for us. So just like volleyball, football is in the good hands for the next 4 or 5 years. So, yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Great news. Okay, we're going to have some pictures. Yes, let's have some pictures. Sure. The volleyball team, why don't you work your way on up here, and we'll get your picture.
Guys will be in front right here.
These ladies are all tall.
Somebody tripped over that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if
sir.
I could also give a special recognition and thank you to our King George County Rotary Club for the generous donation of 67 coats and hoodies that you guys gave to the school division
wow.
just a few days ago. So thank you so much for that. It certainly means a lot to us in King George County Schools. So thank you so much for being a partner with our school division. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. We gonna have a picture again?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
All right. Now we have public comment. Do I have? All right. Let me read these read this as we're public comments are coming down. Public comment is a time for the community to present matters that they believe deserve the board's attention. Comments are one-way communication from the community member to the school board, and they are not a forum for dialogue or debate. The school board applies the following procedures to all speakers and does not discriminate based on the identity of the speaker or the viewpoint of the speaker. Comments should be presented in a courteous, respectful, and appropriate manner. The public shall address the school board only on matters that are related to services and policies of the school division. Speeches that cause disruption to the meeting, promote private business ventures, involve threats of any kind, involve intimidating language, relate to public office campaigns, involve complaints identifying an individual student, or personal attacks of staff members is prohibited. Proper decorum and the provisions of this procedural directive are expected to be followed by all the public meetings of the school board. The members of the audience shall conduct themselves in the same manner as outlined above for the individual speakers and shall not disrupt open public meeting of the school board nor incite others to do so. At the discretion of the chair, any person violating the rules listed above may be asked to leave the board meetings. When recognized by the chair, speakers will be asked to identify themselves by name, state their relationship to the school division, such as staff member, student, parent, community member, etc., and indicate which magisterial district they reside. Commentary during the public comment time is limited to 3 minutes, and the first speaker is Pastor Sherman Davis.
Sherman Davis, about the Darwin District. I'm here to try to encourage the board, and I thank Dr. Boyd and David Bush and Ed Franks and Sister Cleveland, right? Did I say that right? Okay, and Colleen Davis and Kathy Hoover. Thank you for your service. I want to read a verse of scripture to you tonight. In Daniel, the Bible says, and he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, they that have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is as the sun, like unto the Son of God. This, of course, is a reference to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You know the story of the fiery furnace. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I want to encourage you tonight to do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Old Dr. Bob Jones from Bob Jones University said, do right till the stars fall. So just do right. But anyway, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were tempted not to worship and the Lord. And of course, Nebuchadnezzar raised up a government statue that he wanted everybody to worship. When the band got cranked up, the rock and roll band got going, everybody was to fall down and worship the government image. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, we're not going that route. No, thank you. And so they wouldn't bow. And then King Nebuchadnezzar gave them another chance, and he said, listen, bow, and I won't throw you in the fiery furnace, and then they wouldn't budge. And so then he threw them in the fiery furnace, and they wouldn't burn. But I'm here to encourage you to the fact that if you will serve the Lord and put Him first, there's no such thing as freedom from religion. All of us have religion. All of us worship something. There's no such thing as freedom from religion. But they tried to get Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, of course, not to worship the true God, and so they were thrown into the fiery furnace. Nebuchadnezzar's, they were bound, and the men that threw them in, of course, were men that were the strongest men in Belshazzar's army. They burned up just throwing them in. But Nebuchadnezzar said, "Didn't we throw 3 men in?" And soldier said, "Yes, sir." He said, "How come I see 4? One as the Son of God." He'd never seen Jesus, but he recognized him when he seen him. And he was the 4th, and they had no harm, no hurt, no burn on their bodies. And so they wouldn't bow, they wouldn't burn, they wouldn't budge. Let me encourage you, when folks encourage you not to do the right thing, always do the right thing. Then there's Daniel in the next chapter, or chapter number 6. Daniel said he couldn't pray. No prayer for 30 days. Well, Daniel had been praying for every morning, every noon, and every evening since he had been in Babylon. And so Daniel goes and he prays. They throw him in, King Darius throws him into the lion's den. Well, you know the story. He wouldn't, lions didn't eat him. He walked out. They want a separation of church and state, so to speak. And Daniel said, "I'm going to worship the Lord." And he did so. So faith is given to us to go through storms, not to avoid storms. So I want to encourage you, when the storms come along, just trust the Lord, do the right thing, be faithful to God, and you will be glad you did. They all said, amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lee Robotham.
Hey, good evening, school board. My name is Lee Robotham. I reside in the James Madison District, and I'm not speaking in any of my board capacities this evening. So I see there's an agenda item on the agenda this evening that's potentially challenging the indication that you guys have on the agenda here. And I want to encourage you all to stand by your morals and your values and not let any outside organizations affect the decisions that you guys make here today. Don't change your board structure. You know, there's a long-standing tradition and history in this country, in this nation, for prayer. And after all, it's one nation under God. It's right there in the Pledge of Allegiance. The U.S. Congress has a chaplain on staff. They say invocation before they go into session. It's a fairly normal thing. The military, every branch has chaplains throughout the military. They say prayers. You know, I had a lot more prepared for this evening, and I kind of walked it back after I thought to myself, because I don't know if we're there yet, but I think you guys have a decision to make, and I think you'll make the right decision. But I tell you, sitting back in the back of the room here, there was a very loud amen that came from the young warriors, the men and women, boys and girls that were up here in the front audience, that football and that volleyball team. And I tell you, that alone, I feel, should help solidify any decision you guys have to make there. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Rolls.
I'm Matthew Rolls, resident of the James Monroe District. I'm here to read President Lincoln's 1864 Thanksgiving Proclamation. 2 reasons I want to do that. First, this is the last board meeting before Thanksgiving, so it kind of makes sense. And second, 1864, we're in the middle of the Civil War. And a lot of people right now will say that we're more divided as a nation than we've ever been since the Civil War. So I think the things he has to say here are very relevant now. And all in all, I think it's good to reflect on the historical origins of Thanksgiving, that during one of the darkest times of American history, during the bloodiest and most devastating war we've ever fought, Lincoln asked America to pause, thank God for all he's done, and beseech him to bless this nation. With that, I'll read his proclamation. It has pleased Almighty God to prolong our national life another year, defending us with his guardian care against unfriendly designs from abroad, vouchsafing to us in his mercy many and signal victories over the enemy, who is of our own household. It has also pleased our Heavenly Father to favor as well our citizens in their homes as our soldiers in their camps and our sailors on the rivers and seas with unusual health. He has largely augmented our free population by emancipation and by immigration, while he has opened to us new sources of wealth and has crowned the labor of our working men in every department of industry with abundant rewards. Moreover, he has been pleased to animate and inspire our minds and hearts with fortitude, courage, and resolution, sufficient for the great trial of civil war into which we have been brought by our adherence as a nation to the cause of freedom and humanity, to afford to us reasonable hopes of an ultimate and happy deliverance from all our dangers and afflictions. Now therefore, I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, do hereby appoint and set apart the last Thursday in November next as a day which I desire to be observed by all my fellow citizens, wherever they may then be, as a day of thanksgiving and praise to Almighty God, the beneficent Creator and Ruler of the universe. I do further recommend to my fellow citizens aforesaid that on the occasion they do reverently humble themselves in the dust, whence they offer up penitent and fervent prayers and supplications to the great disposer of events, for a return to the inestimable blessings of peace, union, and harmony throughout the land which it has pleased him to assign as a dwelling place for ourselves and for our posterity throughout the generations. With that, I just encourage the whole division and committee to enjoy and celebrate Thanksgiving in the manner in which President Lincoln recommended it 160 years ago. And finally, I'll just say I'm very encouraged and proud that in starting every school board meeting with an invocation, the board has chosen to follow one of the great traditions of this nation, practicing legislative prayer in recognition of all that God has done for this land, as well as recognizing the power of prayer. I hope that's something you'll never waver from. Thank you.
Thank you. James Shaw.
James Shaw, James Monroe District. I am here as a King George taxpayer, not representing the Economic Development Authority. I'm going to pose the same question I did back here in this place, August 19th, 2024. On May 1st, 1992, one Rodney King asked this question: can't we all get along? There seems to be an issue with an invocation that includes a prayer. You folks have in your possession a letter which I have not seen, just heard bits and pieces of it. How to respond? This may not just be a First Amendment issue regarding the Establishment Clause. At the end of the packet for this meeting this evening, there is perhaps an overlooked form on bullying. From the form: bullying means any aggressive and unwanted behavior that is intended to harm, intimidate, or humiliate the victim, involves a real or perceived power of imbalance between the aggressor or aggressors and victim, and is repeated over time or causes severe emotional trauma. Bullying includes cyberbullying. Bullying does not include ordinary teasing, horseplay, argument, or peer conflict. So, are these lawyers from Wisconsin, and perhaps the local citizens behind them, with their intimidating letters, bullying you? People are watching. Are you going to do what you recommend to staff and students when it comes to bullying? Is that really going to work and solve this problem, and not let it drag on and on and on? Prayerfully consider your options and do not allow a potential bully to push you and our county around. The kids are watching, staff are watching, taxpayers and parents are watching. Do the right thing and don't enable and encourage bullying behavior. God bless the King George County Schools.
Amen. Thank you. Yolanda Williams. Oh, I'm sorry. She didn't make it. She sent an email saying she was going to be here and she's not here. Thank you to all of those. And again, it's just under discussion. And if you're, I would encourage, oh, you have one online? Here. You need to write the name. All right, go ahead. The next one then is Brittany Robotham.
Good evening, board members. My name is Brittany, and firstly, thank you for serving our county. Thank you for upholding our nation's Judeo-Christian heritage of beginning civil meetings with an invocation of prayer. Our founders wrote extensively that it was the duty of nations to acknowledge and honor God and to humbly implore his continued blessings. He also wrote extensively that we were a Christian nation, and Christianity was to be practiced in the public square. Please continue to keep invocation of prayer on the school board meeting agendas. We, the people, want to invite God into this place and ask for his wisdom over matters concerning the education of children. We, the people, do not want invocation removed from the agenda. We do not want this to be twisted as a precedent to abolish invocation of prayer at county, state, or federal meetings. Thank you for keeping the faith and the tradition of our elders. Thank you for running the race set before you with endurance. Brittany.
Thank you. All right, superintendent comment?
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here this evening. We certainly appreciate your public comment. I have to tell you, the first 30 minutes of this school board meeting has really confirmed a notion that I already have known for years, that we have a very, very strong community. And that goes to be said, too, for those folks that continue to engage in public discourse in our school division and at our school board meetings. So thank you so much for being here. As Mr. Bush already mentioned, this will be a conversation later on this evening in terms of invocation, and certainly hope you stick around and listen for the conversation. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, next, do I have changes to the agenda? I have a couple, but I want to hear if anybody else has any changes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a change to the agenda under agenda items or discussion items, number C, which is invocation. I don't think that needs to be discussed. I think the members of the board here are all on the same sheet of music, and that I don't think that needs to be on the agenda.
Well, I think there's a big misunderstanding. It's not just it may not have anything to do with doing away with it, okay?
I realize that, but I mean, we're still all on the same sheet of music, and you know, I just don't think it needs to be discussed.
All right. Well, I have an agenda item that's related to that, which we'll have an understanding, and that is I would like to discuss the possibility for changing the time of the board meeting, and it relates directly to the discussion about the invocation. So I'd like to keep it in relationship to a different starting time for the board meeting. So basically, but we do have one. There was an invocation that it has been suggested that we change by doing away with the invocation discussion. So let's vote on that first. I just wanted to mention that I have something directly related to that, but we can talk about that. So I need to hear from individual board members if you want to eliminate the discussion about the invocation. We'll start with Ms. Cleveland. So you were not.
I would like to eliminate it.
Ms. Hoover?
I would like to eliminate it.
Ms. Davis?
I would say eliminate the discussion, but whatever you have to talk about as time-wise, we can address that.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Frank?
Yes, eliminate it.
Yeah, I don't mind eliminating it at all. It is directly related to changing the time because in my opinion, we've got something going on that requires more prayer, not less. And if you want to stay for the discussion, you'll understand what I'm talking about, and that has to do with delaying the start time. All right, any other changes to the agenda? I have one more myself.
So are we striking it right now, or how would you like to?
Yeah, go ahead and strike invocation, but then add possible change to the start time.
Okay.
Okay, any other? I do have one other one, and that is, this is really not for a closed session, but we are required to have a school board self-evaluation by the second meeting before the end of the year, and this is the second meeting. So, and this is not anything that we need to necessarily discuss. Now, the actual evaluation, we will discuss next board meeting in closed session. However, we can discuss the open session. I have forms, and so we'll have that discussion in open session, not the actual self-evaluation, just the process. So basically, if you would, let's add, if I have an agreement with everybody, we'll add the school board yearly self-evaluation that's required in our norms and protocols. Is that all right with everyone? Start with Mr. Frank?
Yes.
All right, we'll add that then. Okay, moving forward, we have presentations, instructional highlight, kicking with character, King George Elementary, third grade.
So as they make their way up, the King George Elementary School third grade team is presenting Kicking with Character on how playing kickball at recess ties into Character Strong, and I believe we have Miss Inzana tonight and her team presenting.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Yardley. We are from King George Elementary School. We are here to tell you how we play kickball every day at recess. It is more than just kickball. Hi, my name's Malachi, and kickball helps you learn new things and make new friends. Hi, my name is Eliana, and kickball is fun to play because it helps us build confidence. Hi, my name is Carlos. I cheer for my teammates and encourage everyone so everyone can have fun. Hi, my name is Lenny. I like to play with my friends. Hi, my name is Jackson, and it makes me happy. Hi, my name is Everett. When we play kickball, we make sure everyone understands the game.
Yeah, sponsors, did you want to say anything?
Are so wonderful with each other. They support each other. It doesn't matter who they are. They cheer each other on. If somebody doesn't know how to play, they all jump in and explain how to play. And in kickball, everyone gets a turn, and then we switch sides, and you don't keep track of runs.
That's wonderful.
Really relaxed, really cool experience for them to be part of.
Great job. Let's give them a hand. Yeah, turn around for a picture. Yeah, I love the pictures that you sent us. It was really cool looking at those. Thank you very much. Well done. All right, next we have under presentations, the Early Childhood Education, VQBS.
Yes, we have our coordinator for preschool, Miss Lori Wages, and she is going to share with us the VQB5 process.
Oh, B5, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry. B5.
Right now? Is it on?
Yes,
Okay.
you're good.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Lori Wages. So this is, we've talked a lot about preschool in the last couple of years, but I've never actually come to give you any information about preschool, like our stats. So this is something Virginia Department of Ed, if you want to, next slide. Who do I say that to? Where does that come from? Thank you, sorry.
John.
VQB5 is, Virginia put this into action, and it's just a system of quality. So we're required for the early childhood programming to send all this information to our families so that are at our preschool, but I thought, why not share it with our community and with the board so that you know what's going on at our preschool. So the VQB5, or Unified Virginia Quality Birth to 5 system, it measures the quality of our program, looking just at how we're getting kids ready for kindergarten. And then the other thing is it's for all programs that receive government funding. So they're all required to be in VQB5. And then any program that wants to be in VQB5 that doesn't get government funding can also participate. And then what this VQB5 also does is gives families a choice. So when I get to that, you'll see there's a profile now that families can go on and look at all of the early childhood programs in our county and all of the counties here in Virginia, and it will give you some information, but I will get into that in a minute. But the preschool, as well as our Head Start program, are participating. And then if you do go look it up, you'll see some other programs here in the county as well. So next slide, how does it work? So trained observers come into the classrooms and they use a nationally regarded early childhood tool called CLASS, Classroom Assessment Scoring System. And what this looks like is they're observing the interactions between teachers, which teachers includes all adults, substitutes, paraprofessionals, related service providers, administration, and the children. So how are the adults and the children interacting? Then we also look at the quality curriculum. Like, are we using an approved curriculum by the state? It's always optional in early childhood, and there's a lot of choices out there. The last bullet there says that though our sites, our King George County school sites, the programs that are King George Elementary as well as the Head Start programs are using a quality curriculum that's approved by VDOE, which is the Instigators Club. No, it's not the Instigators Club. I'm so sorry. It's the Investigators Club. Sorry about that. If you're interested in looking at that, that's what we use. And then we also have internal observers, and that is me. I was certified to be an observer, one, so that I could really understand what I was looking at, and two, it's part of my job to observe my teachers. So it helps me with the state piece and my job piece. So, and then I give feedback to them multiple times a year, and they get support as needed. So that is that part. And then that's really just another way. So the requirements are that you have class observations in every infant, toddler, and preschool classroom in the fall and the spring. Now, we don't have infant classrooms, but we do have a 2-year-old program. So they get a toddler observation, and then we have preschool classrooms that all get the preschool observation, and our Head Start gets preschool observation. I don't do Head Start. I'm not in charge of them, but I collaborate with them, so I know that they do that. So, and then we have to report our usage of our curriculum, so that gets reported into VQB5. And then we have to provide information about all the teachers and the classrooms and child enrollment. So that's done through our Power School information. It's kind of automatic with the public schools, but all the other community places have to input like class lists and things like that. So the next slide has what the rating system is, and that is from VDOE. When I go to training, this is what they give us, but you get so many points for interaction, 700 total. So they take an average of your fall and your spring for any eligible classroom. And then they give you points for your program if you have a approved curriculum. And then they total that and you get a quality rating. Exceed expectations, meet expectations, or need support. So if you look at that meet expectation, that's 400 to 699. Of course, I would always love to exceed, but right now we are super close to it, and we are meeting expectations with 656 points for our preschool program at King George Elementary School.
That's very good.
And we did get a certificate on that. So, next,
That's
thank
worth a
you.
clap.
So I am proud to say that I'm really excited about that, and it's hard to exceed expectations with some of our programs that we have. The teachers try super hard, but you know we have there, and it's not anything against them. It just could be the day or the student, or it's a snapshot of their day. But I think where we are is really good, and we are in comparison to the state, we are right there, if not above. So this slide here does talk about the new portal that's out. So the reason that the state wanted us to give information to parents was that they could go to this new quality profile website. And that gives information on our preschool site as well as the community site. So you can go in and easily find any of the programs by putting in like a city or a zip code or specific site, and the information will come up as to what curriculum you're using, how many points you have, if you need support or meet or exceed expectations, and it will do other things like health and safety inspections. Ours aren't included in that because they're part of the school, but for private child care places, they do have that information. They do it annually, they update it, so that is in there, and the link is there if you wanted to go to it, but you could go to it and see all of the places here in King George. So, thank you. And there's our little certificate that we got, so that was exciting. It's hanging in the office right now, my office, but we're going to find a place for it. And then the last slide just has some pictures of our youngest learners, and thank you for always supporting them. I feel super supported by all of you. You're always out there checking us out, and please come, welcome. I haven't met you yet, I'm Laurie Regis, but come to the preschool anytime, I'll take you around. So, any questions?
Good questions. Any board members?
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for showing us this. My two youngest went to the preschool as a mentor, and those teachers and staff there are absolutely amazing. I get chills just thinking about it. They are amazing. They do wonderful with those kids. I'm so thankful for the preschool, and congratulations on the award.
Thank you. They are. I agree. It's so easy to do my job because they're great. They really are.
I have a question. In the transition that you made over to King George Elementary, has that worked out pretty good?
Yeah, I would say so. I think everybody, they love having a bathroom in their classroom, so that has definitely been a life changer. The building is heated and AC'd and everything works great. So, and I don't know, Miss Cowan's still here, but we've been welcomed engulfed in love from King George Elementary. So Wonderful. It has worked out really well. I think, one of the things my teachers would say is we wish we had 2 gyms so that preschool could use it all the time because we had that really nice space at the old area. So, but other than that, I think it's worked out really well. So, and we're with kindergartners and first graders in the Purple Pod, and it's worked out really nicely.
Well, congratulations. What a wonderful achievement.
Yeah, thank you very much. So
let's give her another hand. This is wonderful. All right. Now we have our student reps, and let's begin with Eric Silber. Yeah, we're doing this, if you remember, before we go to closed session, so you guys can. Oh, did I not say it right?
No, you're
Eric Silber, yes. I said Eric.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Silber. I'm the middle school representative to the school board. I don't really have that much this meeting because Dr. Nice has been really busy the past few weeks, and he has not had time to send out my new student survey. It's mostly new topics. The biggest complaint that I've heard since the last meeting was the bus dismissal process. They really don't like how long it takes between each wave, especially I've heard there's usually a 10-minute gap between the first wave and first wave and car riders, and then the second wave of bus riders is it's like a 10-minute gap. And the late bus kids are usually in their classrooms till 2:45 when the first dismissal started at 2:20. Positive feedback that I've heard, a lot of kids really like the changes that have been made to the grading policy. They really like being able to make up their math quizzes without having to fail them in order to make them up. And then the splitting of the product grades across, tests and exams and projects. I know I've noticed the difference in my grade, and I've heard that other students have too. The survey will definitely be out, and I will have plenty of results by the next school board meeting as soon as I can find time with Dr. Nice to get them sent out. But that's all I have this time, but I'm sure that I'll have more next time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have Savannah Nilsson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Savannah Nelson. I'm the student representative from our high school. So first, I'd like to recognize DECA. Last week, they had a competition that was held over at Spotsylvania Mall, which they did a really great job in, and I believe they're moving on to the next stage. Also, our government class with Miss Anderson, she took her class on a field trip up to the Capitol in DC, which was a great experience for students to get a little bit of insight to how our government works, walk around the Capitol, and meet with some of our representatives and senators, which was an eye-opening experience for multiple students. For NJROTC, their area manager inspection is on this Wednesday. It will be held from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We invite all of you to come if you would like to join us on that day. It is a huge, important event for our unit as we can showcase a little bit to our area inspector on what we do. And for football, our football team has had an amazing season this year. Last Friday, they won their game, and now they are going to be moving on and playing Dinwiddie this Saturday. So come out and support our Foxes. Our basketball, wrestling, winter track, cheer, all of our winter sports are starting up as well. They're all looking forward to having a great season, starting practices, and I believe basketball starts up some of their games next week. So come out and support our basketball team. And to follow all of that, I was talking to some students from the high school, and something that was passed around a lot was getting more mentors incorporated into our school, alongside with some of the guest speakers, which are super beneficial, but having some mentors or mentorship programs that can be interactive with the students would be really great for all of the students, as well as having more expos. CT does a great job with this, but having more job fairs, whether that be construction comes in or more office jobs or just anything like that, to where students can get a perspective on what's out there for them, that would be really beneficial to open up students' eyes and have a goal to work towards, or mentors come in that can help guide them and make those connections. That way students can start networking starting at that young age of their freshman year. So I appreciate all your time, and thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I appreciate both of you.
Sorry, one more thing to add. Our NJROTC drill team, who has competitions throughout the entire year, this Saturday we had an amazing competition up at Bowie in Maryland, where our armed exhibition took first place, our color guard took first place, our armed basic took second, and our unarmed exhibition took second, and our uniform personnel inspection took third place, where our NJROTC program took first place overall, which was a huge accomplishment for our unit. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's great. Well done. Thank you. All right, do I have a motion to go into closed session?
I move the board convene in a closed meeting to, is that right? Yeah, to review hires, substitute stipends, and resignations as permitted under Code 2.23711A, Pound 1 of the Code of Virginia, and to consult with legal counsel and briefings by staff members and consultants pertaining to actual and probable litigation where such consultation of briefing and open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigation posture of public body as permitted under 2.23711A, Pound 7.
Have a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, chair votes aye. We're in closed session. All right. Do we have a motion to return to open session?
I move that the King George County School Board return to open session and certify that pursuant to State Code Section 2.2-3712D, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the public body.
Second.
And, okay, you need to say certify.
Certify.
Second and certify.
Second and certify.
Certify.
No, it's already been seconded. I also certified. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We are now in open session. Do we have a motion to approve the personnel as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve personnel as presented.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Passed. All right. Let's move on. Okay, we have the consent agenda, the meetings from last month, and I'll say that I mentioned this to call Dr. Boyd, and so I'll mention it now. But basically, oh, I'm sorry, my fault. Basically, one change. If you want to open up the minutes, it says Pastor David, and it should be Pastor Davis. I saw that, and obviously, I'm called Pastor David quite often because I am one. And so it was kind of strange. I said, why did Aaron put Pastor David? Why is my name there? Pastor Davis instead of Pastor David. So that needs to be changed all through there, okay? All right, I didn't see anything else, but that was pretty big. Look good. David Bush, thank you, Pastor David. All right.
Chairman.
Yes.
I have a edit as well.
Sure, go ahead.
Page 11, the first note under my name, it starts with Karen, thank you. It was supposed to say chairman, thank you. I just want to make sure that I'm clear with that because I wasn't trying to imply that anybody was a Karen. So.
That's fine. No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Cleveland. All right, anything else on this? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes for November 4th as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes. All right, now we have the calendar, the 25-26 calendar. Dr. Boyd?
Yes, so we do have this on for action this evening. I could draw the board's attention to the instructional calendar agenda item. If you click on that second attachment document, the one titled Calendar Documents, what I would be requesting this evening, if there's not any additional feedback from board members, is a request for approval of the 2025-2026 King George School Calendar as presented at our previous meeting.
Okay, two things. We can, if this is an action item, we can go straight to a motion unless someone wants to talk about it first, or we can discuss it after it's been seconded. So do I have a motion, or is there a question that you'd like to ask Dr. Boyd first?
That's the calendar modification?
Yes, but it could be discussed now. I think it's better if you make a motion and second, and then we can discuss it.
This is a 25-26 draft with proposed changes.
Yeah, with the changes we discussed last meeting.
I make a motion to discuss.
Or to approve, then we'll discuss it after it's seconded.
Oh.
It can be changed and amended.
I feel like it's too.
Okay,
well, only
go ahead.
because he had to rush through it last time.
All right, go ahead.
And I don't know if our whole board really can appreciate what has been
Okay.
done. I wish you could do it over, but.
No, go ahead. You can discuss it before we have a motion. Go ahead. It's fine, Ms. Davis.
Does anybody have any questions?
I did have a chance to meet with many of you guys individually and discuss it in greater detail.
Okay.
I can certainly, so I can answer any additional questions.
I make a motion to approve modifications that were made for the calendar 25-26, please.
I second.
Any further discussion?
I would like to point out on the other attachment that Dr. Boyd provided in the packet that it shows the change right in one of those, somewhere on this, shows us what changed, what days we got off versus and number of hours and all that. So there was definitely clarification provided, and that's pretty much what we talked about
Yeah,
last
absolutely.
meeting, so.
And,
Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
well, there's a misspelling in December for teachers, but, I just wanna let the community know that they have things, the whole week off next year, ahead of time.
I did have a question, Dr. Boyd, and I think you mentioned this last time. Basically, this calendar is, we are abiding by the Virginia Code with all of this, but just barely.
It's not just barely. No, we're well ahead. We're
We're well
well
ahead?
above the 990 instructional hours, and
understand
we've
that part.
also we're well above the 10 buffer days that we have. We did a lot of research in making sure that we are falling in line with our regional counterparts as far as their school calendar, and we just took a lot of the considerations that our staff and our community had to see if we couldn't craft a calendar that was addressing some of their concerns and some of their needs. So I'm hoping that we accomplish that.
I guess the bottom line is we have 10 buffer days.
We have more. I think we're at if
we
we
have
approve the
more
one tonight, we have 10 buffer days, and then we're still 5 days over that.
All right, that's
Yeah.
it's the 5 days.
So
Okay.
we're still well above the 990 with the available buffer days.
All right, that's my question. Any
So,
further?
What,
Go ahead.
it's on page 6 of the, PowerPoint presentation where it says the date, the current use, and then the proposed change for anybody that needs to look and see what's different.
And if we have a approval of this evening, we can certainly share that out to the community as Amanda always does, and make sure everybody knows of next school year's calendar and
Any further
very clearly.
discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The calendar has been accepted for the 25-26 school year. All right, next on the agenda.
Next on the agenda is titled
CIP.
CIP. So if I could draw everyone's attention to this as an action item, this is the time of year where we begin, well, not begin, but we present to the board the capital improvement projects that are on the docket. There's not a whole lot of change in this document because what we do is we just move it forward a year from the previous year. Any of the projects that have been addressed, then we obviously remove from the CIP request. And then any projects that are on the horizon that come from maintenance, that come from technology, really that come from our HVAC vendor, Honeywell, or anybody else that says we need to consider some of these projects in the CIP that's required by the county, we do that 5 years out. As you know, last year, if you were on the board, we've worked on that capital improvement project and plan well out into 15 years. But what's required to the county is 5 years. I'm asking for an approval from the board this evening for our CIP, and my responsibility following an approval is to go to the county administrator on December 10th and present our initial CIP. I can certainly answer any questions that anybody has or characterize any of those projects if anybody needs further detail.
Yes, questions. There's a lot here.
There is a lot here, and as you're looking through the document, it's in PDF form. We also have it in a spreadsheet form that we work through. If you're looking at the projects, it's 31 total projects. That's many more than it's been in the past, and if you remember, there's a reason for that. There's two reasons for that, really. Number one, the county has requested the ability to look a little further out into the future as far as what our needs are in the school division. And secondly, as we have developers interested in coming into King George County, and they have discussions with the school division and many other county departments on the impact that their development or their project is going to have on our county services, they revert back to our capital improvement plan to see if there's anything on the plan that they can satisfy to help alleviate some of that stress that they're putting on the county. So we make sure that we have as many of those projects as we possibly can on our CIP. If you're looking at the projects, they are sorted by school or location. The first 7 projects are projects related to the school board office. As you know, that's a very aging building, and if we continue to stay in that building, then obviously the older it gets, the more it costs to keep up. So you can see those first 7 projects are listed there related to the school board. If you work your way across, you can see, and what's important to notice is the priority for the project. Urgent is obviously things that need to be done immediately. Necessary follows urgent, and then future is the other priority consideration. What you then see is the total amount of money that we have estimated for the cost of that project based on vendor conversations and bids and things of that we've received, or estimates we've received from different companies. And then you can see where we estimate that cost to be a hit on the county's budget, whether it's next fiscal year or any one of the 5 years out. Okay? And I can pause there for any questions because there is a lot there.
If there's no dollar amount, what, like the second and third line items, there's no cost associated with that. Is that
We're
because-
still waiting for that we're still waiting for some estimates from that, and we believe those projects are so unique that it's very difficult to arrive at a cost for that.
I know we talked about this last year, but we're spending a lot of money on a building that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, and so I think Kathy's point is a very valid one. And again, it just depends on how you want to look at this. I mean, we have a referendum that is passed for a school. The school board office right now, it has been in consideration. That's been in the conversation when it comes to that grand plan. Again, it's a costly endeavor, but you can also see the reason we include these projects in our CIP, because we also want the community to know, what it's going to cost to keep that building operational. There's been a lot of Band-Aids put on that building. If you look at that building, there's a lot of, you see the exterior, some of the windows are covered up. Some of the air conditioning units are new. They're the exterior, the window units that are there. That building needs a lot of TLC in order to keep up and maintained. And Gary and his crew do as good of a job as they can to keep it operational. But it's an aging building that needs a lot.
And I have several questions, but I'll just do one at a time in case other board members want to chime in. So if you have questions, try to just do one. If you have several, just do one so we can all hear different ones. First one I have is that, if we look at the bottom line for this next year, it's 13 million, just estimate, and then the next couple of years it's significantly less. Why? It looks like projects have been waiting or something. I look at all of these that somehow we're doing next year. It almost looks like we didn't do enough in the past few years.
So I think
The 13 million is the total.
That's a total for all the years?
That's the total for all of them. And then what you'll see for next year is the 4.3
Oh, I'm
million.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, next question. Well, I'll stop there, then I have two other questions. Other board members?
Yes, Dr. Boyd, on number 9, it says flooring replacement. Is that gym floors at the schools, or what is
No, that's an ongoing project. We've done that over a number of years. That's the replacement of classroom and administrative areas, libraries, main offices, depending on what that surface is, whether it's carpet, tile, or whatever that may be. That's replacement. That's a replacement cycle for those areas.
And can I ask another or wait on somebody else?
Mr. Davis, did you have one, Ms. Davis?
I think you were gonna ask it.
Oh.
Is it about that?
Yes, on line number 25 and 26, King George High School weapon detection, King George Middle School weapon detection. I assume that's for metal detectors?
That's the middle school and high school weapon detection systems. So those are not actual metal detectors, but these are the newer grade A AI weapon detectors, the ones that we saw at Hopewell.
And, my real concern here is that we talked about this about 8 months ago when we had ARPA and ESSER funds available, and now they're all gone. And now they're on the CIP, where we could have bought them with federal money 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Or
I don't.
do you like this system better than, because it's more hidden than a metal detector?
So what I'm seeing in terms of the weapon detection systems is many schools across Virginia right now are slowly beginning to adopt them. I think the price because of, I'm hoping because of the increased competition in terms of those offering this service, the cost I'm hoping is going to go down. But in terms of where we are, my understanding right now is Spotsylvania just approved them recently. Like when I mean recently, like last week. Fredericksburg has been using them this school year. I think Spotsy has them, and I think Colonial Beach has had some form of this for some time now. You're starting to see a lot of school divisions, especially the ones around us, use this technology. It's not as cumbersome as a metal detector. It's a technology where if you upload images of guns, of any, quite frankly, it can be an image of anything, then this system can scan an individual's body, and if that shape or that image is found on that individual, it puts a red box on a computer screen, and then that individual is responsible for taking part in a secondary search, so that we can find out what's setting off the machine. So the other thing that's very nice about this is a metal detector, you know, you have to go through one at a time, and then, you know, that whole process. The way I understand this, these Evolve systems, these weapon detection systems, it is many students can get through at a much faster rate. Here's another part to it that's important to understand. The leading technology for this right now is a company called Evolve. The only way Evolve will sell this to you is they will lease you a system. They lease you a system for 4 years. So this cost is to use this technology for 4 years, and then you're paying for it again. It's a very expensive technology right now, but it's a very safe technology in terms of school safety. So
It's probably in 4 years going to be out of date anyway, if you think about it.
Yeah,
So,
I think you're probably right. Also, what I like about this is obviously weapons, you know, detection system, it's mostly metal and that sort of thing. And this can identify with all the stuff that's going on with the programming, and they can literally make things out of plastic. They could be extremely, in fact, I've seen it. We can identify the shape of things. I think this is much more accurate and much more effective in what we're trying to accomplish, because it goes beyond just simply metal things, because there's so much going on that they can make weapons out of things that are just made out of plastic with a proper program and proper hardware and software.
Is there a grant or anything out there?
yes,
that,
I was just you just read my mind. We're actually looking into. There's some school safety grants out there that we're exploring this in terms of that funding as well. Good question.
I just look at the school board office needing the storage facility. I mean, that's $1.5 million for a storage facility. So we're building a small building, I'm assuming.
Okay, so what this is big picture wise, we desire to reopen the vocational center. The vocational center is between the middle school and the high school right now. Ever since I've been in King George County, that vocational center has been closed. I don't know if you know when it might have shut down, Mr. Frank.
2008 when we moved into the high school.
2008. So it's been closed down for 2008. Within that time, what it has become is the school division's catch-all, and it's very much a storage facility right now. If you stayed in tune with the Board of Supervisors just approved a storage facility for very much the same need. In order for, you know, if we're talking about chess pieces and trying to get that vocational center back into working order, really step one in that chess game is to relocate an area for storage. So we would need a storage.
My question is, what are we using now?
We're using the vocational building now.
So we're using that, but we need to remodel
resurrect
it.
that. and
Well,
use
and
it.
if we want to use it to open it back up for vocational programs, we have to take all of that stuff and be able to relocate it somewhere. We've considered other places and other options, but just like the county, as they've just built one, we really, and within the school division, we don't have a storage facility.
And if you look at number 12, it's the feasibility study for the VOTEC.
Right.
So,
I saw that.
yeah.
All right, any other questions?
Question. So I feel like on other boards I've been involved in, the CIP was involved in the budget process. So I don't have the background on this, and I'm thinking these are all new projects, and then it's your 5-year plan to pay for them. But we have old projects, right? And you have 5-year plans for those?
Yes. And so they won't be, this won't be directly related to what the school division does is we will take this presentation or this document to the county, and the county will typically, well, you're probably familiar with this part. The Board of Supervisors will review these projects, rank them in rank order, and decide which ones, in terms of the school division, and then also all of the projects in the entire county, which ones they are willing to fund. So our responsibility as a school board and as a division is this being kind of step, not one, but early in the process of approving the projects that we are recommending. We will then take them to the county administrator. The county administrator will take them to the Board of Supervisors, and bless you. And we will ultimately, really within about a period of maybe, I'm shooting from the hip here, 6 months or so, hear back from the Board of Supervisors on the projects across the county that they will fund through this fiscal year. And it's somewhat separated from our operating budget.
Good questions. Any others? Go ahead.
What is the middle school catwalk?
So when the middle school renovation was done, this is what I've learned about this project. The middle school renovation involved new HVAC in certain areas of the building. The original plans had a catwalk, I believe, in the new gymnasium adjacent to the cafeteria, so that our HVAC technicians could get to the new HVAC unit to work on it. That was deleted from the middle school project years ago when they did the renovation, because there was some change orders and some other things needed to be done. We've recently heard back from Honeywell, our HVAC service provider, that in order for them to safely work on that HVAC unit, they have to have a catwalk in order to access that unit.
Yeah, they won't go and service the unit unless there's a catwalk.
Is that Mosley?
No, that's Honeywell.
I mean, what was Mosley the architect that
back,
did?
I can't remember if that was Mosley or not. That was before all of our time, but not much before.
I think it's clearly one of those things we need because we definitely have to have them service those HVAC units.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Yes, I want to know what the Potomac Elementary School VRF is for $3 million. What's a VRF?
So if you take a look at, let me see, scroll down. Which project were you looking at? That was, trying to find it down here. I'm looking at a different document than you are. Potomac Elementary School, I'm sorry. All right, so basically this is a project that was recommended to us from our Honeywell service contract through Gary. Potomac Elementary system is reaching its end of life. We currently have 7 circuits in that system that would need to be replaced. The VRFs will fail, and the school's HVAC system will not be functional if we don't update those, according to Honeywell. It is.
Other questions? So Dr. Boyd, you're going to present this to the county administrator, and then he presents his recommendations to the Board of Supervisors, and then it will come back to us.
Yes, as I understand it, it will be a slightly new process with a new county administrator this year. But as of right now, I know that on December 10th, I will present this to our county administrator, and then from there, I believe he'll work with his board, and then they will report back in some fashion to the entire community on the projects that they will approve.
All right. But this is not, when they report back to us, they're not going to require this being part of next year's budget or anything. This is something that they've already, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, this is almost dealt with entirely separate from our operating budget.
Well, I know it's supposed to be, yes. Okay, good. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, go ahead.
The demolition of the old middle school is supposed to be on here, or is that a board of supervisor
No,
thing?
that was years ago. The school division sold that old middle
Okay.
school to the board of supervisors. Uh, the board of supervisors
Record.
owns that property right now, and in the last CIP process, which was last year, they did approve for $600,000 the demolition of the old middle school. So that's happening. I think they're working through making that happen at this point.
The other thing was, that some of these on this current CIP are from last year.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
Some of these projects were on the last year's CIP.
Yes, they will be because they
just
wouldn't
roll
be.
over?
They weren't satisfied
Yeah,
from
okay.
the previous request. And we'll continue to roll them forward. And again, it's in relation to, obviously revenue in the county, but also in relation to the needs of the county.
Sort of fresh 5 years.
It won't be
rolls over?
it won't ever be a fresh 5 years. It'll always roll over. Unless we're
No, I mean-
fortunate enough to be able to check every single box in 1 year, but that's a tall order.
I guess it would be nice for them to see how long that's been waiting to be done.
And they do. They'll see that.
Okay.
And what the other thing you can notice with this document is you'll see that if something, you can see the cost on that summary page. Like, let me give you an example where it says number 17, Potomac Elementary School metal roof. The estimate for that in this year's dollars is $800,000, but we don't need it based on our discussions with the contractors until 5 years out in the 29-30 school year. So what you'll see over the next 5 years is that moving one step closer every year, and hopefully we're giving at least a 5-year outlook to our board of supervisors as to what we'll need in 5 years, and internally this document for us stretches 15 years out.
Thank you. One last thing, 'cause I don't remember last year because I was brand new. Is it normal to present them the projects that have no funding on it? We're not approving this tonight as a board.
No, we are.
Yeah.
We are. He can't take it to the board of supervisors, to the county administrator until we approve it.
So it's normal though to take it to the board without the school board approving it without knowing the cost.
Well, the county, well, go ahead.
Yeah, and some of those, and again, some of these costs are estimates as well. We're waiting to get, there's I think 3 projects on there that we're still waiting for a cost estimate for. As soon as we can plug those in, hopefully before December 10th, then I will make sure that you guys know what those costs are. If by chance we do not get an estimate, then maybe I'll work with Gary to see about where we go from there, whether or not we remove that project in for consideration or do something otherwise. But I'll make sure you guys are in the loop on that.
So you work with Mr. Smolnick and
Yeah.
to answer any of his questions, but I know the board's going to be calling us and asking us questions too, so that's why I'm just asking, so I'm more aware.
And you can relay those to me as well. And I'll also share with you guys the spreadsheet, which is a little more informative than the PDF document, because what you can do there is,
I saw when I scrolled down, it was very detailed.
yeah,
with pictures.
there's a lot of information there, and some of them have pictures, and you can be able to see more specifically about what it is the project's addressing.
The board of supervisors will also have that PowerPoint,
Yes,
so they'll be able to see the pictures.
and I'll share that with Mr. Smolnick as well.
All right, any other questions? All right, this needs to be a motion today so that Dr. Boyd can start meeting with Mr. Smolnick. Do I have a motion? I need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the CIP request form as presented.
I second.
All those, any further discussion? Sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Dr. Boyd, it's all yours now.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not all yours. It's just a comment. All right, next is the policy manual updates. Some of these are easy. Some might be a little more of a discussion. Let's go through them. And again, these are items that I think we can make motions on unless there's a serious question. First one, BDD, Dr. Boyd.
Yes, I'm happy to tell you that we have 9 tonight, and after tonight, we are pretty much caught up. Barring any late VSBA downloads of policies, but Aaron has done an amazing job of making sure that we work through these pretty expeditiously. So the first one we have on this evening is policy BDD, If you take a look at that policy, it matches what is now in code, that this policy must be adopted at least once annually. That's the change to this policy.
I make a motion to approve policy BDD as amended.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Policy BDD has been approved.
We can work through these pretty quickly. The second one is almost the same thing. This is BDDL, electronic participation in committee meetings from remote locations. And again, the change is that it must be adopted at least once annually.
I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve policy BDDL as amended.
I second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next one.
Next policy is GC. This is our policy titled Professional Staff. And again, this is falling in line with some of the recent changes with licensure. I think we've talked a little bit about the fact that you can have locally awarded licenses now for teachers for 1 year. And what this does is kind of solidifies some of the requirements for that. So you can see it must be issued by the Board of Education. The superintendent or school board will sign off on these licenses, and that's what's referenced in those first bullets there.
I have a little bit of a question. When it says in the very first bullet there, or a provisional license issued by the Board of Education, what you said is much more clear, because it looks like it's got to be issued by, or it could be issued by superintendent or school board, but basically we just approve it, but we don't issue it.
I think they're all issued by the Board of Education, but we approve it. And for these local licenses now, I think later on this evening, it's required a signature from the superintendent and then also a signature from the board chair.
Right. Well, I knew that, but I'm just saying the way it just looks like there could be some more clarification, but that's fine as long as it's understood.
I wonder why Board of Education is, you know how they started, not just Board of Education, but the capitalizing things, but they keep using superintendent.
Oh, I see.
School board
Well,
capitalize the superintendent. No.
It's a position, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve policy GC as presented.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next.
Next policy is KB. It's titled Public Information Program. And again, this is a relatively small change. If you look at the end of that, or the last sentence in that first paragraph, the wording has changed from the board will utilize all appropriate means and media in order to the board, in present tense, utilizes. And then you have a legal reference.
Very small change. All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve policy KB as amended.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. ABE.
KBE, this is one that we worked with pretty heavily in the school board office with our technology department. This is KBE titled Internet Privacy. What you will see is this policy now references our actual practice in King George County. In some other school divisions, they do things as far as collecting personally identifying information. They have some things about collecting information on the school board's website, cookies on computers, and so on. So what we've done is we've gone through and reviewed this policy and pretty much let everyone know in terms of internet privacy, King George County Schools does not collect personal information, does not collect information via our website, does not collect cookies on our computer, and we're going to slim this policy down and just letting everybody know that that's the way we do business in King George County.
Interesting. So you've basically identified all these details in just simply one sentence.
Exactly. We don't do it.
That's good. All right. Any other questions about this?
In that first paragraph, it says Government Data Collection and Dissemination Practices Act. Is that act part of that? Because it's crossed out. I'm playing that for today.
I think it was strangely crossed out I think it stays because it was strangely crossed out at the beginning of where, you see where at the beginning of where it was
Yes,
crossed
yes.
out?
And then it occurs
To your
again.
point, they probably should have crossed out "and the Virginia Freedom of Information Act" as opposed to
Oh, I see, yeah.
crossing out the first act. It's a weird way to do it.
It's still
but
there, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Just the way they did it, which isn't best. Any other questions? I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve KBE as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. KG.
Next policy is KG, community use of school facilities. We looked at this some time ago. Not much difference here. There is just some a legal reference and some cross references. You remember we talked about this when it came to, I think we were talking about it when it came to hazardous materials. But again, this is just an update of cross references where the use of community facilities is seen in our other policies.
I have a motion.
I move that we approve policy KG as amended.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Next policy is KH, public gifts to the school. VSBA has decided to scratch out the word donations and change that to in acceptance of gifts. And then we have some cross references below in terms of food services and playground equipment.
I have a motion.
I move that we approve policy KH as presented or as amended.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next.
Next policy is KJ, advertising in school. VSBA has recommended striking the last paragraph. We in King George would like to keep the last paragraph, so we are requesting that the board deny VSBA's recommendation of striking the last paragraph. The last paragraph reads, commercial establishments whose primary source of revenue is the sale of intoxicants may not advertise in school publications. VSBA has stricken that. We would like to keep it.
Yeah. Why would they stricken? Huh. Any further discussion about this? This is, I'm looking at this, I would naturally agree to it, but any other questions?
I
think we should keep it as well.
I make a motion to.
All right, do I have a motion to, basically, just to make it clear, it's a little different than the other ones. The crossed out part will not be crossed out. That's what we'd be approving.
We are going to deny VSBA's recommendation.
Okay.
I approve to deny VSBA's recommendation for policy
That's good enough.
KJ.
All right,
Second.
it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The approval to deny is approved.
The right to deny.
The right to deny will approve. Okay. Next one, LEB.
The final one is LEB. This one is titled Advanced Alternative Courses for Credit. Again, this is just an update to this policy to reference the industry recognized courses that are now found in most course catalogs across the Commonwealth. You'll see the language there to reference the degree, the passport program, which we've talked a little bit about this in the past, but the passport program is a program that public schools and the Virginia Community College Network use in order to transfer courses directly to a four-year degree to schools that are in the Commonwealth. So this policy updates that information to make sure that it references that new change.
Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve policy LEB as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. All right, next, JEC-R, school admission.
Yes, this was a request of the board last time to make sure that our school admission policy puts in some information about allowing staff members who work in King George County schools to have their children attend schools. We wanted to make sure that our school admission policy referenced that practice that we perform in King George County. So in working through our ad hoc policy committee and speaking with folks in the school board office, The recommended language is underlined there, and it is permanent employees of King George County schools who reside outside of King George County may be eligible to enroll their children in King George County schools tuition free. This includes children of school age living with the permanent employee, and the permanent employee is the children's natural parent or parent by legal adoption. Permanent employees may contact the Office of Human Resources or Office of Student or Family Services for eligibility information. So again, this is in reference to the request from the board, but also in consideration of, some of the caveats that we've dealt with in the past in terms of this practice.
Right. I think I was one that made that recommendation, but I think it's done well. Except why did you put King George County may instead of will?
In case there's any outlying situation. Yeah. Just kind of gives us the
More leeway.
the leverage.
Leverage, all right. All right, I like this. This is good. All right, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the updated policy manual as presented.
Have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next one, we scratched the invocation, but I had written two more. But let's go to this first one, which is rather easy, which involves the school board self-evaluation, which in our norms and protocols, it mentions that we're supposed to do that on the second meeting before the end of the year, which is this meeting. And I would like to propose doing something similar to what we did last year. And I'm passing out right now just the norms and protocols, which are on the internet. And that's just a copy of it there. And what we did last year, I'd like to do again, and I'm giving you right now the blank form, which you will receive from me by email, and I'll explain it as you look at the form. The first one's just a copy of the norms and protocols. The second one, though, is an Excel spreadsheet, and you look there.
Do you have another one by chance? To make sure we have one for the packet. That's okay. We can grab one after.
I can send you copies of it. Anyway, that was something that on an Excel spreadsheet, you can see basically how it works is it lists all the norms and protocols on the left-hand side, and then it just simply has the school board member, doesn't list the name, and then you will rate this, and I'll explain this in the email that I'll be sending you in the next 2 days, that basically it's a 1 to 5 scale, and 1, you'll have to relay that spreadsheet to what the norms or protocol is, and so you will rate that. 5 meaning we're doing wonderful, exemplary, and 1, of course, is we're failing at it. So you will rate each one of these norms and protocols on a 1 to 5 scale, and then you'll have rooms for comments on each one of them. And I'll be sending you this in a couple days, and then you'll fill those out, send them back to me, and then I will simply list everybody's scores. You'll see very similar to what we did with the superintendent's evaluation. And then I'll put the totals at the bottom with and all your comments will be there. I'll just copy all those. And then we will talk about it in closed session, and here's the reason why, is because several of those involve the superintendent, they involve the school board chair, and so we could end up talking about individuals, and because of that, in talking about individual personnel, it will be in closed session. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so please do that at least a few days before the next board meeting so I can collate that information and have it ready for the next school board meeting, and then we will discuss that, and then we'll come out of that meeting, and then we'll hopefully approve the self-evaluation. Any questions?
I have a question, Chairman.
Sure.
So where it says board member, do you put their name on
No,
it? And then
I
rate
won't.
it? Okay, so just,
I mean, when you'll see it, you can probably tell it's yours, of course, but I'm not going to put.
oh, so we're not rating other board members.
No.
Okay.
This.
Just
Oh, I'm sorry.
ourselves.
That's
I
why
got it.
this
Okay.
is the radio. I'm sorry.
I
Sounds
thought
funny.
we were supposed to fill this out. I'm
No,
like,
no,
okay.
no, no. This
Okay.
is rating the norms and protocols. So if you look like where it says number 1, then you'll, in your name, of course.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Because there's 6
I
spots.
thought we
Yeah,
were evaluating.
with you, what I'll do, I'm sorry, let me make it clear. What I'm going to send you will only have 1 slot.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, that
I'm
helps.
sorry. I'm showing you what the final form will look like when it's all
I got
collated,
it.
put
Okay, yeah.
together. Okay, and I probably should have said that at the beginning, yeah. All right, any other questions? That was a good question.
That was mine.
Okay. All right, next one. I know we scratched invocation, but the reason why I mentioned about the possibility of changing the meeting time, it was brought to my attention that that is something that we do at the beginning of every school year in the first board meeting in January. We talk about board agenda and making changes there. And my reason for doing that, which does relate to the invocation, was that I felt as though we needed more prayer, not less. And so therefore, I was suggesting, and we'll talk about this again in January, there's no reason to have a motion today, is that I would like to see a group of people gathering together, including school board members, if they wish, and any members of the community for a period of prayers before the official board meeting starts. We're not doing away with the invocation, but I'm also hoping that my fellow board members, we're all going to be involved with helping gather various places of worship within the county lines, that everybody, rather than just me, the board chair, which we should have done at the beginning, and again, this is why I wanted to talk about invocation, that all of us maybe will be assigned possibly a month, and then that individual board member will go out and find a church leader from one of the churches to come to invocation, therefore spreading the work out a little bit. So that will be a possible, I don't think it needs to be a motion next time, but definitely the possibility of us changing the time of the meeting to 15 minutes before the board meeting starts for the purpose of prayer. Any just questions or general comments about that?
We're gonna do that in January, though, not
Yes,
at the
not
next
next
meeting.
month, no.
Okay.
And it will be a further discussion, will actually be a motion in January, because I would like to keep the time, and we don't have to discuss that now, but I would like board members to be thinking about it, that's why I put this under discussion, of keeping it at 6 o'clock and then starting the official board meeting at 6:15, and then meeting out in the front or maybe in a separate room. But the community will be invited, anybody that would like to, reverends, pastors, whatever, to pray. And that way it allows the opportunity for board members to pray because it's not part of the official meeting. I think that makes us legal, and so I was really wanting more prayer, not less. All right. I believe now we are at the committee reports. I'll start at Mr. Frank.
I don't have any for this time.
Davis?
The Chesapeake Bay Governor's School, we have our meeting tomorrow, but they are having one, I don't know if Dr. Ford, if you're planning on going, but there's having one in January, Chesapeake, I think. So I might go to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might accompany you. There's certain ones that I attend, and there's certain ones that I shouldn't attend, just for board members. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll have more then. So this will be my first meeting since school let out.
All right, Ms. Hoover.
I don't have any.
Have one? I'm sure you don't have one. Oh, let me go back, I'm sorry, to the school board evaluation. I am sorry, please forgive me. I need to go back, if the board doesn't mind, to say something to Ms. Cleveland. Obviously, when you're filling that out, there may be some you just don't have enough information on. Feel free to put that, however you want to do it, NA, and then put, I'm sorry, I don't have enough information. But even just based on your month or a couple of board meetings, do what you can. And you might even put just based on my little bit of time. I just want to be sure you're obviously free to say, I don't have any idea with some of those. Okay. All right. And I knew you assumed that would be true. Okay. I do have a report. It's from the Special Education Advisory Committee. I was not able to attend, but let me just mention a couple things that occurred during that meeting. There were several that had attended, and that was Kate Howard as the supervisor, Miriam Nieme, Rebecca Kingman, Jesse Bryant, Carrie Ladaladi Hall, Jennifer Peach, and Kathy Bird, and Sherry Fortune. Now, they discussed several things, and one of them was that Jennifer Peach made an inquiry about the amount of paraprofessional and teachers that are required for the schools after noticing the needs when volunteering book fair. Just again, the need for more paraprofessionals to help with the special ed. It was also mentioned in public comment, the disruption to students with disabilities is a concern. And then also it was mentioned by Miriam Nieme that the 70-30 grading policy does seem to have a negative effect on students with disabilities. And so she's going to be writing us more about possible suggestions or that concern. They also had some selections. Miriam Nime was nominated, Jesse Bryant to serve as the secretary. And Jesse Bryant nominated Miriam Nime as the chair and Jennifer Pete as the vice chair. And Kathy Bird motioned to approve the slate of officers, and Carrie Ladadell Hall seconded. A couple of other small things, and that was that Miriam Nime brought up the discussion about the amount of meetings that CX are required to have was 4 meetings a year. And Jennifer Pete requested that there be an additional meeting at the beginning of the year as an introduction. And that is about the highlights of the meeting. So next, I'm sorry, superintendent's report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'll be brief this evening. I did have the opportunity today to meet with Mr. Smolnick, our county administrator. He and I had a very good conversation about making sure that the school budget calendar and the county budget calendar jive well together. So we spent some time making sure that his new approach to how they're going to deliver the budget on the county level works with how we have to deliver the budget through the school board and then ultimately presenting it to the county officials. So in short, what that's going to mean is that during our organizational meeting, we will still, and we've done this in the past, this is not a change, we will have to go over the strategic plan. If you remember, the strategic plan is the foundational blocks for our budget request. So we'll have to go through that. And I know we've done that in a number of different ways, but it's important to the budget process to cover the strategic plan. The meeting after that, right now scheduled for, I believe it's January 27th, I will have to do the budget presentation to the school board. That's one meeting earlier than it has been in the past. So that'll be one meeting earlier. And then I will seek approval from the school board for our school board budget at our first meeting in February.
Okay.
All of that is just moving up one meeting. That's in order for it to jive well with the county's budget in the way that they want to expedite the budget process this year. So that'll fall in line with them as well. The only other thing I want to say is I want to echo Savannah's request for board members to go to the NJROTC inspection. It's quite an event. I know we're all planning to leave town and head to Williamsburg for the VSBA convention on that day, but at 7:55 in the morning, if you are not packing and busy getting ready to pull out, then that's certainly an event that is one that really highlights the great things that our NJROTC program does and King George County does.
And where are they going to do that?
It will be at the King George High School Gymnasium.
At the gym, okay.
At 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday morning. So if you haven't seen that, I think Mr. Frank may have seen one or two. But if you haven't, it's certainly an event that you'll walk away feeling good about.
Wednesday morning or Thursday morning?
Wednesday morning. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, very good. All right, if we have, now we need to finish with board comments, and we'll start at this end with Ms. Cleveland.
I really appreciated all the presentations today. Love to see the volleyball and the football players here. That was really cool. I'm a really big football fan of King George, as probably most of you know. So really happy to see that they won, and yeah, that's all I have to report today.
Hoover.
I would just like to also congratulate both the volleyball team and the football team. It's quite an accomplishment, especially for all the hard work that both the parents, the teacher, the coaches, the students. Great job. And I also wanted to thank Dr. Boyd for adjusting the calendar as requested, because I know that took some finagling. So thanks for working on that. And to Miss, why can't I remember her name? The preschool teacher, the lead, yeah, Miss Lori. Thank you for that information. It's very encouraging to see the preschool program doing so well, and it's always fun to go and visit and see all the kids and how excited the teachers are. Yeah, thanks to everybody for being here tonight. Appreciate all the support that you have been showing coming out and actually having the room filled some. So thank you.
Ms. Davis?
I want to thank the coaches that are involved in all those activities. Um, it touched my heart tonight just to see how they are there's a lot of gratitude there for them to be allowed to be a part of that. There's a lot of thankfulness that I saw, a lot of heavy, love. Anyways, so I just want to thank them for putting the energy and effort and time and everything that they put into that. And I want you to know that I fought really hard for your stipend raises.
We all did.
Pastor Davis, he said something that stood out to me, and it's a song, a preschool song actually, and he didn't finish it, but do right till the stars fall, do right till the last call, and do right when there's no one else to stand by you. Do right, and that I learned that when I was actually a little kid. It's a nice song. I'll sing it for you one day, Kathy. Lee, Mr. Robotham, I appreciate you because you're going to tell me how you feel and not what I want to hear all the time. And I appreciate that. Same with Matt Rolls. Matt Rolls I consider a friend. He irritates me like a brother, but I've learned to love and appreciate his wisdom. Mr. Shaw, me and him have a date every Wednesday. I haven't been there lately, but and we get an opportunity to talk. I always appreciate your wisdom and advice and friendship, so thank you. Miss Williams, I know she's maybe asleep, but okay. And then, I'm almost done. Miss Lori, everywhere she goes, she's successful, it feels like. No matter where she is, she figures it out, makes it work with a smile on her face, and I love that. And if you need any instigators, we know some. And Savannah, our student rep, and what was his name? Eric Silver. We hear you, and we appreciate the time you all take to collect information to present before the community and the board.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Mr. Frank?
Just want to thank the staff and teachers for all that you do. Congratulations to the volleyball team, the football team, and also the NJROTC drill team, and that went out and performed over the weekend, taking first place. I think there was like 9 or 10 other schools there that they were competing against. So that was really good. Thanks to all the people who came out and spoke. It's always a pleasure to get your comments and understand where you're coming from. And thanks to the Rotary Club who presented Terry Rinko with a over $3,800 check, I believe it was.
Right.
Terry's always doing amazing things. And just thank everybody for all that you do.
Thank you. All right, I just have a couple of things. First of all, again, like other board members have said, I'm so thankful for the King George Middle School volleyball and football team. Boy, it was wonderful to see the enthusiasm, and they're so successful. And part of that, of course, has to do with the environment of the whole school and the coaches. So it's anyway, well received for that. Again, I'm very thankful for the preschool and the accomplishments that they've achieved. It's wonderful, and she's doing a great job with that. And I also, Terry Rinko, and everything that she does is just, it's wonderful to see that. And of course, the Rotary Club's grant was very well appreciated. I also want to thank all of the people that came out in support of keeping the invocational prayer. It's really good to hear that. And I did want to read something, and it's in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and against the authorities and against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places. That's the reason why I think we need more prayer. Because we're not just simply dealing with, I believe, what's going on around us with organizations or whatever that would like to attack us for various reasons, but I believe we're dealing with, also forces that we can't even see, and we need prayers. And prayers for our students, prayers for our staff, prayers for the schools, and prayers for the success and prayers for the school board, and we are right here. So I appreciate, again, King George has accomplished a great deal, and it's a wonderful division to be part of, and I feel it a real honor to even be on the school board involved with a division as good as King George. And I want to especially thank Dr. Boyd and Aaron. In fact, last week, was it last week, we went to all 5 schools? Was that last week? Yeah, it was. And we acknowledged the Teacher of the Year in each one of those 5 schools, and I think we're going to have a finalist announced in the next board meeting, maybe? Is that right? Okay. All right, anyway, what a pleasure it was to do that. That was very good. All right, no further business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We're adjourned.